I was talking to somebody just, I think yesterday, who, kind of one of the things that people talk about with MOOCs, one of the problems with MOOCs is that it's basically just traditional lectures put online, is what people say. And the person I was talking to was like, well, that's not totally true, is it? Because traditional lecture might be really boring. It might be, it might not be interesting. It might be, and it's often delivered off the cuff. It might have a lot of errors, mistakes. In a MOOC, there's a higher level of accountability, actually, because you have to spend a lot of time thinking about how you're going to present the material. I know Keith's put a lot of time into editing his videos, making sure the flow feels right, making sure the right feel is there. And I think what you were talking about earlier, too, making it feel like you're actually there sitting next to you, which you can't do in a classroom with 250 people. So like the idea of actually doing production in video does make it different. There is a difference there. I mean, it's not just a lecture put online. It's a little bit more sophisticated.
Yeah. It strikes me that when you describe it that way, about trying to get that persona to come through, trying to make it good flow, good editing, it's probably true that some professors are better at that than others, just as some are better at standing up and lecturing than are others.
It certainly helped me that I've done sort of radio and television a lot in my life. I'm used to talking in an empty room to just a microphone or to a camera and things, so I'm used to that. And just say one thing about, I spent a lot of time sort of crafting the editing and things. The one thing I didn't do was make the lecture part polished, because that was meant to be spontaneous. I thought about it a lot in advance, and I made sure, and I was clear what I was going to talk about. But then, no books, no notes, except on a couple of occasions. There was actually no notes, because I wanted to simulate what it was like to come into my office and say, have you got a minute, Professor Devlin? Yeah, we'll sit down and we'll look at it now. So, and in fact, if you look at it, and some students said, why didn't you go back and re-record that bit? I cross out, I said, oops, that's wrong. It was in real time.
Right.
Now, to make that work on video, you have to package it. We sped up some of the handwriting in the editing. We had to put a lot of effort into making that flow. But the actual moment you sit down, other than speeding up the handwriting, which interestingly most students didn't notice until I wrote about it in a blog, that part, when you sit down and watch it, is exactly what you'd get if you'd been sitting next to me. Well, I sometimes edited out the cough, and sometimes, because I'm near NASA Ames or San Francisco Airport, a plane would come over at the wrong minute. And so I would sit there with my pen frozen so it wouldn't affect the video, wait for the plane to go over, pick it up, and we'd edit that bit out. But other than that, the bits of the lecture are exactly what you'd have seen if you were sitting next to me, and that was deliberate.